So we're completing our series on the alchemy of service, and I just want to say thank you to the people who came in the room, because showing up is a big form of service right now. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for the people at home who are showing up. And if you're showing up online at home, there's another way that you can increase your community service, which is type hello in the chat bar. Wherever you're watching, if you're watching on Facebook or Vimeo or YouTube, there's a little chat bar. And that not only says hi to the other people who are watching, it says hello and thank you to the chaplain who is with you in there. Because there are chaplains. Our chaplain program is incredible. It's amazing. It's probably the deepest form of service that you can do here. And there's a chaplain every Sunday in every single one of those online forums. And they're praying for you. And they're also just there for you to say, like, hey, how you doing, Stephanie? It's great to see you. Or, hi, Gail. You can do all of that stuff in there, even if you're at home and you're not in person here. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. Those of you who are up and online, or up and in the room, give us a sway, and I'll sing this song, and then you'll join. As the leaves fall, I let go. As the leaves fall, I let go. Let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go. Try that. As the leaves fall, I let go. As the leaves fall, I let go. And then I did this leafy thing. Let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go. Let's sing it out. As the leaves fall, I let go. As the leaves fall, I let go. Let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go. And this leafy thing that I'm doing, that actually serves a couple of different functions. But the most important of which is just getting your arms moving, and on either side of your body opens up a lot of different parts of your brain that wouldn't be opened if you had your hands in your pockets or held behind your back or anything like that. So just separating your hands, getting a little space between your elbows and your body, and that movement back and forth is actually going to make this service seem better, smarter, and wiser than it would have otherwise. So I encourage you to do that. Let's sing it again. As the leaves fall, I let go. As the leaves fall, I let go. Let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go. Let us pray. So taking a breath and feeling our feet on the ground, connected to the earth, we call forth the activity of spirit with our opening statement. Together, there is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence. And if your ears are good, you'll notice we have segued into a minor key. It's the relative minor, and this is in honor of our guest today, Judith Laxer. So she's going to be talking about changing of the seasons, and I've pulled out some of my earth worship songs from my old library. So this one has a whole lot of lyric. If you know it, sing along. Otherwise, this is just a song for you to move to, like that. Oh, Mother God, flowing through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for our hands in the earth and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. We say that twice. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Try it if you want. Oh, Mother God, flowing through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for our hands in the earth and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Yeah, oh, Mother God, yeah, blessed be. Do it again and clap. Oh, Mother God, oh, flowing through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for our hands in the earth and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Thank you. Have a seat. Hello and welcome again. So let us begin first with affirming our mission statement together. We are a welcoming spiritual community thriving in the heart of Seattle, celebrating, inspiring, and deepening our individual and collective spiritual journeys. And so it is. So we are blessed to have Reverend Judith Laxer here with us this morning. I'm going to introduce a little bit more about her later on, but welcome back, Reverend Judith. So Reverend Karen is away. She's on a mini sabbatical, traveling through Greece, so literally walking through history. I had a picture from her this morning. She said, I'm literally on Mars Hill where St. Paul preached. So she's getting to see the archetypes of mythology and astrology, and it's just a very rich time for her. So we continue to bless her on her time away. If you have a prayer request, if you're online, you can type it in the chat, and we will collect all those up and pray for everyone who has requested prayer at the end of the service. And if you're here in the room, we invite you to fill out a prayer request form over there and put it in the box, and the prayer team will pray with you during the week. And we also send those prayers off to Silent Unity to be prayed for over a month. So last Sunday, if you missed the board Q&A, the board did a little update on our finances and a building update, and so grateful to the board. One of the things that they announced is that originally they had spent months planning a fundraiser, a big fall event. We were going to have a big event and party at the end of October, and then with recent COVID numbers, decided that having an in-person event just wasn't quite time for that yet. So they decided instead to do a direct ask, and so they'll be giving calls to you and just making that request to be part of our fundraiser drive and help us meet our goal. There'll be a letter coming out this week from Reverend Karen on that topic, so watch for that in your inbox. And now David, who is our lead usher greeter, has an announcement for you.
Good morning. As Diane said, my name is David. I'm the Usher Greeter Coordinator here at Seattle Unity. Last week, Reverend Ann Holmes reminded us that service to God is perfect freedom. And here at Seattle Unity this month, we've been celebrating the alchemy of service. Alchemy. It's a word I've been familiar with most of my life, but I never really knew the definition. And since I was celebrating it, I thought I'd look it up. This is what I found. Alchemy, a seemingly magical process of transformation, creation, and combination. There have been a number of people who have transitioned off of the Usher Greeter team, and we thank them for our service. We have been able to proceed with a skeleton crew and are working to rebuild, being mindful of the needs of service as the holidays come, and anticipation of the completion of our new building when we will need full crews. It has been my experience that since joining the Usher greeting team, it has helped in creating relationships when I was new, as well as when I returned after many years. Becoming more aware of my service, I not only realized I was doing a service for the church, but I was also helping in my desire to co-create my relationship with the divine. As I gave, the more I received. It was like magic and very simple. I encourage you to join the Usher Greeter team. You can talk with Diane or Karen Smith to find out how to join, or you can talk with me. And I'm looking forward to creating magic with you and the rest of the crew. So, there's going to be more announcements for those of you at home. On the screen, here in the building, you get a chance to shake hands, hug, or wave at the air, however you feel comfortable. And by the way, those of you at home can do the same if there's anybody around, or even if there's not.
Encourage the folks who are in the room to come back to your seats and be seated. And just so you know, give a special prayer moment to our live stream, because the live stream has gone out. So the people at home, after I said, like, please participate and vote in the live stream chat, the live stream went out. So they will get a recording later, because we are keeping one. It's on Facebook.
We are also live on
Hello,
Facebook.
Facebook people, yay! So Facebook people, please hold a prayer for the people who were moving through Vimeo who got cut off. Whenever that happens, it's like if you were here and suddenly your car alarm went off, so it's a big interruption. So just hold a moment for them and hold a moment for our live stream, please. And thank you for being here in person. Thank you very much. Karen Smith, would you give us our reading?
Yes. Hi, my name is Karen Smith. I am the office manager here at Seattle Unity, and I am reading a poem by Jennifer Reif from her book, The Mysteries of Demeter. Give praises to the Holy Mother. All that is born rises from within her. All that sustains thee flows from her body. The wise and holy Mother pleasures in peace and honest labor. Tend to your life with gentle wisdom, and to your days with love's compassion. Honor the goddess's rites and mysteries to bring justice, peace, and the nation's unity. Know the cycle of the blessed seed as the mystery of the soul revealed. Honor the pure and holy maiden whose power is joy ever reborn. Praises to royal Persephone, who at thy death will come welcome thee. Praises to the Holy Mother, whose song is the light of eternity. May you know your immortal being and drink of her cup everlasting. Blessed be.
We're coming to a more contemplative part of the service, including our regular meditation. In the room, this will be about 3 minutes of shared silence, so I encourage you to put aside any distractions, anything that would make noise. If we are live and have folks at home, they will be seeing a video of autumn leaves. To move into that meditative space, we're going to bring another older song from the Earth Worship. You'll hear a main chorus, and then Sienna and Faith will also do verses. We all come from a goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from a goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. We all come from a goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise again. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise again. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Oh, we all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean.
with great human kindness is overflowing, and I think it's gonna rain today. Scarecrows dressed in the latest styles, frozen smiles to chase love away. Human kindness is overflowing, and I think it's gonna rain today. Right before me, the signs implore me to help the needy and show them the way. Human kindness is overflowing, and I think it's gonna rain today.
Thank you, Anna Maria. We are blessed to have you here with us today. And we are blessed to have Reverend Judith Laxer with us today as well. And so I just want to tell you a little bit more about Reverend Judith. So she is a modern-day mystic who believes that beauty, humor, and the wonders of nature make life worth living. The founding priestess of Gaia's Temple, which just celebrated its 21st anniversary last weekend. Judith is a keynote speaker, teacher of the magical arts and mysteries, and author of Along the Wheel of Time, Sacred Stories for Nature Lovers. Judith dedicates herself to supporting the rise and integration of the feminine in all her magnificence and wisdom in our culture. To find out more, you can find on her website at judithlaxer.com or at gaiastemple.org. And so I invite you to check both of those out. And please join me in a warm welcome for Reverend Judith.
Thank you so much. Good morning. It's lovely. You know, I don't think I've been in a room with this many people in a year and a half. Thank you. Wow. Makes me almost want to cry a little bit. Anyway, I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored, as always, to share a pagan perspective, a pagan spiritual perspective, which is always based in nature. And when Reverend Karen told me the theme was being in service, and it put me in the mind of how staying in sync with nature helps us serve the world. So pagans follow what we call the Wheel of the Year, which is our cyclical model for the passing of time. We don't see time as linear, we see it as cyclical. And hopefully as we go year after year, we ascend and evolve and become better human beings. On the Wheel of the Year, there are 8 Sabbats, or holy days, natural earth holy days, and one is coming up this Wednesday, and that is the autumnal equinox. This Wednesday, September 22nd, right exactly at 12:21 p.m., so just after noon, that's when the sun goes into Libra. That's the exact point of the equinox, but it's actually a 24-hour period. And there are 2 of them on the Wheel of the Year, the vernal equinox in the spring and the autumnal in the autumn, and they hold the balance points across the wheel, and each one of them is a 24-hour period of equal day and equal night. That's why it's called the equinox. Equinox actually means equal night to the day. At the vernal equinox, we are entering into the light half of the wheel, when the days are longer than the nights. And at the autumnal equinox, we are entering into the dark half of the wheel, where the nights are longer than the days. And so we are about to enter into the dark half of the wheel. So this life cycle, coming up into the light half of the wheel, descending into the dark half of the wheel, round and round and round, is in service to the world. Each of us, as we know, and hopefully we know, that we all have a purpose here while we are alive. And part of that purpose is also to exit life so that others can be born bringing their purpose into the world. We can't all be here at the same time. We can see, especially in our era of overpopulation on this planet, that we just can't all be here at the same time. There's not enough resources, there's not enough room. And so part of our purpose is to enter, but also to exit. This is the natural life cycle, and it is in service to the world. This cycle ensures that life happens, and it ensures that death happens. So today I want to share a particular story that resonates with that life cycle that comes to us from the Greek mythology, which I think is so interesting because Reverend Karen's right there where it all began. And so this myth is about the great grain mother, Demeter, and her holy daughter Persephone, and the wise crone Hecate, who form the goddess in her triple aspect. And this tale comes down the corridors of time from antiquity, at least 2,000 years BC. And if you know it, you probably know the patriarchal telling of this story from the classical era, in which Persephone, the daughter, is abducted and raped by Hades, the lord of the underworld. And in this telling, she is innocently walking through a field of wildflowers when suddenly the earth bursts asunder and up comes a chariot pulled by 6 black powerful horses carrying Hades, who grabs Persephone for his own and takes her down into the underworld. And then when Demeter learns that her daughter is missing, well, she roams the earth looking for her, and no one has seen her, and no one knows where she has gone or what has happened. And so finally, she uses the power that she has, and she casts a powerful curse on the land and vows that nothing will grow until her daughter is returned to her. The people of Earth begin to experience a great famine, and over time, in their weakened and near-death state, no one is worshiping at the temples. And this catches the attention of mighty Zeus, who likes to be worshipped. I guess he didn't factor this part in when he and Hades, the brothers, the sky and the shadow, planned the abduction and rape of Persephone in the first place. So to correct this unexpected turn of events, he insists that because Persephone has eaten 6 pomegranate seeds in the underworld, that she will spend 6 months in the underworld from here on out, and then 6 months she may return to the surface and live with the land of the living and her mother. Demeter will relent at that time, the earth will continue to produce, the people will learn how to preserve their food so that will get them through the fallow from here on out, and all's well that ends well, and everyone is happy. Except me. I remember learning this tale when I was in 6th grade, and although the word rape was not part of the telling, I knew that something wasn't right with this story. It wasn't fair that Persephone was taken against her will. I wanted Persephone to have agency over her own body and her own life. I was a budding feminist, even at 11 years old. So fast forward to my early adulthood, I'm beginning to hear the whisper of my own calling. And I did a lot of research and work learning about world mythology and ancient history, and with the understanding that everything that comes after is built on what came before, it occurred to me that, well, we all know history is written by the victor. And in this telling, all the women in this story are cast in weakened, subservient, or helpless roles. Even goddesses, which is interesting because we learn that divinity is all-powerful, and yet. So then, in my research, I came upon a very slim volume called Lost Goddesses of Ancient Greece by Charlene Spretnak. It's a collection of pre-Hellenic myths in which she writes the stories of these ancient goddesses, like revises the stories. And I was enchanted by them, but I was also astounded. Like, you can do that? You know? And I realized how important it is to eradicate rape and abduction from our myths so that we don't just accept it as business as usual. I mean, why keep telling a twisted tale of rape and abduction in which we justify the turning of the seasons with rape and abduction? Something is very wrong here. So this prompted me to write my own revision of this tale into one I believe was probably closer to the original tale, a story of the life cycle, a coming-of-age story, a love story, a story of death and sorrow and transformation and reunion, a story that feeds our souls on the truth of our earthly experience and nourishes our faith in what happens when we leave it. So my revision goes like this. The goddess Demeter was the great-grandmother, and once, when time itself was still young, all that grew upon the earth grew without limit. Demeter had a beautiful daughter named Persephone, and Demeter watched as her daughter grew, and she taught her how to be a very good goddess. And like most mothers, she was very attached to her daughter, and therefore she had a bit of difficulty letting her go as she began to grow up. One day, Persephone was taking a peaceful nap in a meadow of wildflowers. The sun was shining, the air was warm and fragrant. Wise grandmother Hecate, the old crone, knew that with both Persephone fast asleep and Demeter nowhere to be seen, the time was now for her to do her part to keep the cycle turning. With the power of her immortal hand, a spell was laid upon the sleeping maiden. Whispering into her ear, she caused visions of the lands below to enter her dreams. She charged Persephone to see what was transpiring into the dark of the underworld, and this is what Demeter's daughter saw. The great king Hades was below, downcast and weeping in loneliness. On a throne of carved black marble, he sat in shadow, bent over as one who is forlorn and lost. Beside him was an empty throne, and upon it lay a jeweled silver crown. Hades then began to sing, low and ominous. The song bespoke such yearning that all of the souls below began to mourn with him. Hades sang until his deep and haunting sounds found the ear of fair Persephone, and in her dream she could see that King Hades could see her sleeping far above. She saw his sadness and also how handsome he was. And her heart flooded with love and compassion. Her heart had awakened. It had opened to the Lord of the underworld. And now her only wish was to join him, to bring light and beauty to that dark place. And Hades had seen her. From his palace, he went to the grotto of black stallions and harnessed the steeds to their waiting chariot. He called to her, "Persephone!" And the sound of her own name caused her to stir, and she woke to find her grandmother Hecate beside her. Hecate raised her divine hand, and across the meadow there appeared flame. The poppies shone a deep blood red before they were extinguished in the holy fire. And beyond the red and glittering flame, the earth burst asunder. The field became burning ember, and beyond the field, the god of the underworld drew up his chariot and waited. Hecate raised Persephone from the ground as fear and courage awoke together in the maiden's heart. But she was steadfast. She removed her crown of poppies from her head and cast it into the flames. Her gaze was fixed upon her beloved. And uncrowned, she walked across the field of ember and flame to descend with the Lord of the underworld. Her veil, embroidered with lilies, was left behind. Into the waiting chariot they fled, the brilliance of passion filling their hearts. Hades drove the black steeds around the earth and then down into the lands below. And as the holy daughter crossed over, the silver crown appeared upon her head. Into the palace, Persephone and Hades came, lit from within for love for one another. On the couch of Aphrodite they lay, entwining their jeweled arms in the fiery embrace of love and passion, he enamored of her beauty and light, and she of his mystery and darkness. And so, through the power of love, did life become one with death. And when their passion was, for the moment, spent, they quenched their thirst on scarlet seeds of juicy pomegranates. In time, Queen Persephone came to receive the souls of the dead, and this began to mature her. She reigned as the queen of justice and set herself to bring balance to the ledger of every shadow soul who called out for her. And in this way, she helped the newly arrived to understand where they were, to reevaluate the life they had just lived, to come to peace with the lessons, to determine what would be next, and most importantly, to rest. To rest without obligation, so that their souls could restore. Now, on the surface of the earth, Demeter came looking for her precious daughter, and as she approached the meadow where last she saw the sleeping maiden, she gasped in horror as she spied the smoke rising from smoldering embers. Persephone was nowhere to be seen. The goddess of the grain found only her daughter's scorched veil, and panic seized her heart. "Persephone! Persephone!" she cried. "Where are you?" Her pace quickened, and she began to roam the earth looking for her daughter. Demeter searched and searched for 9 days and 9 nights unceasingly. She did not stop to rest or to eat or to drink. And then as hope began to dwindle in the heart of the great mother goddess, the crops withered in the fields. Soon nothing would grow. And the first autumn was born in Demeter's despair. She grieved, and her sobbing racked her body and wrenched her heart. Months went by, and then finally, deep in the underworld, it was then that Persephone felt and heard the sound of her mother's weeping. And from that moment, her heart was rent in two, one half for her mother and one half for her beloved. She ruminated on her dilemma and could find no solution. The thought of leaving her beloved was unbearable. And yet the thought of her absence being the source of such pain for her mother, and consequently the searing hunger of all the people of earth, filled her with remorse and guilt. She withdrew into herself, so that even the light she brought to the darkness began to wane. And it was then that Hecate, the crone goddess of wisdom, appeared before her. "Holy Queen," Hecate said, "ease your heart of its burden of sadness. Come now, listen to my plan. Stay with your beloved Hades from the time the grain is stored to the time it is again planted. Then rise to work with your holy mother as before. Have pity on those who cry above to Demeter to return the land's fertility. They cannot wait forever, else all will be below and none above." The heart of the holy daughter filled with gratitude for this wisdom, and she fell into the old and loving arms and hugged her fiercely. And then she ran to go tell Hades of the plan. And he was so delighted to see the light in Persephone's eyes once more that even though he knew he would miss her terribly, once she returned to the surface of the earth, he too saw the wisdom in the plan and agreed to it without hesitation. Wise Hades. Good Hades. And her kiss assured him that he had pleased her. And both knew that absence would only make their hearts grow fonder. Persephone laid down her silver crown and crossed over to earth. Demeter was overjoyed to see her daughter again, to know that she was safe, and to observe how she had grown. Still, in her heart, Demeter knew that she would never have her daughter completely as she had once had, as the innocent little maiden whose heart was hers alone. She knew that during the time Persephone returned to her beloved in the underworld, she would not have the will to make the land green again without the blossoming maiden. She knew that she must accept this as surely as the passing of time, and that she must take comfort in the knowing that the spring would always herald Persephone's return. So that's my revision. Of course, there are a few highlights I want to draw out of this to really put in context of how this story serves the world. So one of the things that I love about Greek mythology is that the gods demonstrate very human qualities, and in this way we can see ourselves in their mirror. So for Demeter, in her despair, she uses the power she has to bring her daughter back to her. And don't we all do the same? We do everything in our power to regain what is lost, to recover once we are wounded. Now, I'm sure Demeter had never thought before, well, I can always call a strike, right? Until this situation of injustice came to the fore. And then she uses her power to correct this great injustice. I mean, is there anything fiercer than a protective mother? I don't think so. For Persephone, she follows her heart. She follows love with all the enthusiasm and disdain for the consequences of youth. They consummate their love, and in this way she begins to mature, but really that's just the beginning. By entering the darkness, she finds her purpose, to help the souls of the dead, and this fully matures her. She is no longer a maiden playing among wildflowers. Now she becomes queen of the underworld, which is no small thing. She realizes that she is part of something that is greater than just herself. Her work is powerful and it serves the world. So think about how we mature when we experience hardship, how we find powers we didn't know that we had because we chose an adventure away from the usual or because we are grappling with a hardship. Persephone matures in this way because she recognizes that she is part of something greater than just herself. Now for Hades, in this revision, his role is no less important. He also learns that love will bring him what he needs and wants, and he needn't take anything by force. Love is the way. He agrees to a bargain. He agrees to that bargain because death, too, serves life. We do everything we can to avoid death. And hopefully we're going to live all long, happy, and lovely lives. But when it's our time, it is our time. And knowing that it is our time serves the world. And then there's Hecate, of course. Oh my goodness, don't we all need a wise elder for those important decisions we make in life? She knows that the wheel must keep turning, and she does not shrink from the inevitable, but rather she facilitates it at the right time. And she knows the power of negotiation and compromise, something all of us should learn and know and has a little tool in our goodie bag. Now, we have all been around the wheel of the year a few times by now. We know what to expect as the seasons turn. The dark half of the wheel is necessary for rest and restoration. The earth is doing it by going dormant, and we should too. So we can make good of this time of the year by turning inward for reflection, allowing ourselves to drop from the surface of our lives into the depths of our souls to see what we find there. We can do it by expressing our gratitude for the bounty of the harvest in season. We can also take stock and fill our larders for the coming fallow, and we can look at all of these as real and actual and also metaphoric. Most of all, we should try to give ourselves some time to rest, because the time of great activity in the long days of summer is now drawing to a close for 6 moons. Now, I know that we had all hoped to be telling a very different global pandemic story by now. We had all hoped to revise this story into happy, joyful reunions. I know we had all hoped to flatten this curve. The vaccines gave us some hope for a little while there, but there wasn't either enough access or enough people to get it in time for the Delta variant, and now here we are about to enter another fallow season, another dark half of the wheel, with more strident, restrictions than we had last year. But we can use our gained wisdom about approaching the coming season of fallow, knowing the specific hardships that we will encounter, having gone through them in an ongoing way, and particularly last year, the social restrictions, the very different holiday season, all when we had hoped to be back to normal by now, whatever that means. But we're not. And so in addition to all the food for thought that this tale brings to us, a good takeaway today is be like Persephone. What would Persephone do? Realize that we are part of something that is greater than just ourselves. Be in service to the greater good, which might mean, staying home and having another Thanksgiving and Christmas over Zoom this year, continuing to mask up like everyone here is doing, staying as socially distanced as we can, getting the vaccine if you would, keep washing our hands raw. Now, I know that these actions add to the hardship that we are already so weary of, but we can't stop until we have truly gotten past the danger of the COVID virus and we stop this contagion in its tracks. So hopefully, this story today has brought renewed inspiration to stay vigilant in our efforts to stop this madness. May we be like Hades, knowing that we don't have to use force and take things that don't belong to us to assuage our loneliness. We can connect through love and let that be the way. May we be like Demeter and come out of denial and use our strength to counter injustice. May we be like Persephone and know that we are part of something greater than ourselves and make the sacrifices necessary for the greater good. And may we all be like Hecate, using our wisdom in right timing. May the season of fallow bring you peace and restoration, so we are all ready to rock and roll in the spring. Thank you so much, and blessed be.
Gold and silver is the autumn. Soft and tender are her skies. Yes and no are the answers written in my true love's eyes. Round and round the circle of seasons. Round and round, round and round, round and round the circle of seasons. Summer's leaving and autumn's coming. I think that I'll be got to leave and find my pathway. Got to sing my true heart song. Round and round, round and round the circle of seasons. Round and round, round and round, round and round the circle of seasons. Round and round the burning circle, all the seasons 1, 2, and 3. Autumn leaves and then there's winter. Spring is born and wanders free. Round and round, round and round the circle of seasons. Wanders free. Round and round.
Anna Maria Gerzon, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm still David. the Usher Greeter Coordinator. We come to the time of our service to where we joyfully bless our tithings and donations given to Seattle Unity. We are extremely grateful for this opportunity to join in the cycle of giving and receiving. You can text giving, you can text give using the number on the screen, or maybe in your phone. The number is 206-350-8448. Or by donating via the website at seattleunity.org. And for those of you here, you can donate in the box up in the front of the building there. Thank you all who give in whatever amount. Every gift matters and goes to support the mission and vision of this ministry. I invite you to join me in blessing all the donations received. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
Thank you, David, and thank you to all who give. We see it returning to each giver a millionfold and more. So now we come to that time where we get to pray for all those who have requested prayers through the chat and other avenues. And so I just invite us to take a breath and with our intention, with our own consciousness coming together, just centering in our hearts, creating this sacred space and sacred intention together, calling forth the very highest and best for Penny, for Dawn and Rich, for Mieko, for Susan, Emiko, Walterine and Dennis, for AJ and Maria, Pat and Bert, for Letty and Marcia, for Ramona, taking a breath, affirming divine order, prosperity, health, and well-being. For Paul, for Connie, for all people who are working, Sabrina, for Mason and Deanna, Jerry and Kristen, for the Conway family and Laura, Ray, Jason, Chris, the Ash family, for Sally, Kathy, and Karen. I also want to just take a moment to let you know that a member of our community, Paul Ebert, passed away this week. And so I want to take a moment and have a special prayer and blessing for Paul and his family. And so again, just centering in our heart. And whether you knew Paul or not, if you knew Paul, perhaps bringing his face, his presence to mind, a gentle soul. And Paul, we bless you for the light that you shone on this earth, for your warm, gentle, thoughtful presence that you brought with you in all that you did, through your very presence. And we bless you on your continuing journey in spirit, knowing that that light continues to shine. May you know peace and grace and ease in this transition, in this time. And let us also hold his family, Elizabeth and Tom, and all of his loved ones, all that knew him, in this community and so many other places where Paul touched people. We bless you as well, holding you in light and love. And we know that you are uplifted by that love of God, that love of Spirit. And may your grief move through you gently. Amen. And there will be a service for Paul, and we will get that information out. We're looking at a date of September 28th, so that is coming up quickly. We'll send out an announcement for that probably in the next week. And so let us now close with our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
I encourage you, if you're in the room, stand as you are able. This is a moment we're going to sing a closing song together. We'll sing this through 3 times. It's really easy. Jump in as soon as you catch on. Wherever I am. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. If you like harmonies, try them. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. Sing it out strong. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. Happy Sunday.